Happy Thursday rolling out. This is your host, Christal Jordan. And on top of June being Black Music Month and also Pride Month, it is also the month of love. Some of you may not know that June is actually the month that most weddings take place in. So if you ever have heard Stevie Wonder's song, No Wedding Saturday, within the month of June, that is because June is the month of love. And our cover conversation today is with a woman that has definitely made love a big part of her conversation. In fact, it is the focal point of her conversation. She is a journalist turned love matchmaker. We have all watched her ascent. Kendra G started in at WGCI, and we all knew her as a lovable radio personality that was not afraid to speak her mind. But in 2020, she made a pivot, and that pivot included love and took the nation by storm. Please help me welcome the very beautiful Kendra G.
Woo, girl, I didn't even pay you to say that. I got to hire you, girl. Do all my intros. I need you to be my voicemail intro. When I wake up, I just need to hear that intro every day. That was so kind. Thank you.
No, it's so true because, like I said, we have been fans of yours. You basically took the pandemic and what everyone was going through. We were trying to figure out what was going on, and people felt isolated and in silos everywhere. And you created something that it took the nation by storm, and now it has given you a new purpose and passion in life.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us? Take us back to 2020, right?
Yes.
When you were probably trying to figure out what you were going to do, no longer going into the station. Where did the idea for Singled Out come from?
Okay, so the show is called Singles Live. And so basically, I was in a relationship at the time, and we broke up in the pandemic. And to be quite honest, I didn't really want to break up because who wants to be in the house by themselves? But I always feel like when the world shut down, you had no excuses. You couldn't go anywhere. So I believe my boyfriend was doing some things he couldn't be doing, shouldn't have been doing, and had no excuses. And I was already with him in the house for 2 weeks. So, it's the quintessential, this isn't going to work. And then I went back to my house. And then, of course, he tried to come back 2 weeks later, but I'm skipping. During that 2 weeks, I literally felt like Will Smith. I had a dog at the time. My dog is now in doggy heaven. Like I Am Legend. And it was really, this is like, we don't have our mask yet. We're still trying to figure this out. World is shut down. You just got to stay in the house. And that's all that you can do. And Instagram Live became our way to connect. Shout out to D Nice, who really took everything by storm. And then people started doing interviews. So what I did at first was I was just doing celebrity interviews, right? Like once a week. And then I had this gut feeling of go connect with other single people. Because if you're feeling like this as a single person, because a single person with the world open up is not that bad. You could be outside with your girls. Mm-hmm. There's events. There's so many things going on. But singles, a single person in COVID, like you couldn't, like your home was all you had because you couldn't go to nobody's house. So at the time, it wasn't necessarily a show. I went live and I made like a post. I was like, hey, if you're single, I'm hook you up tonight. And then when I went live, the first episode, and people always ask me, when did I know? I knew the first episode, my life would change forever if I took it serious. I was like, because it has everything to be a hit. Mm-hmm. It's regular people. It wasn't celebrity based. I come from the celebrity based world. And then as a journalist, and you're a journalist, it could be a pain to try to get a celebrity interview. Like they got schedules, they don't want to talk. It's so much. It's really anxiety. So I love that it was regular people, mm-hmm. They wanted to join in. I always have too many people. I can never get to everybody. Right. C, it was the interaction. Either you're on the show and you like someone and you have a shot, you could DM them, or you have an opinion, which you can give in the comment section, the interaction part. Mm-hmm. And it was entertaining. Like, I really did not know that single people are single because they're crazy. I didn't know that first. I was a person that was just like, oh. And then the more literally, I'm so happy if there's people that watch my show, because if I was to tell someone what happened, they would not believe me. Mm-hmm. They literally would not believe me. So now we're 4 years in, and now 2 years ago, I had the idea of creating the dating app, and it has been, oh my God, being an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur, a Black entrepreneur is not no easy walk,
Mm-mm,
okay?
mm-mm.
But we made it through. And now we have the Kendra G singles dating app, which I am so excited about. But that's how girl, you know, I talk for a living. I done gave you
I
like
see. I
five.
was like, you just took us straight from there to there. Let's go.
No, but I want to follow you. I want to follow you.
No, you're good. So because I love the fact that you mentioned it was, just people at home. And I was someone that watched the show. I was definitely at home during the pandemic and just sitting there trying to figure out what I was going to what I was going to do next. And I think what I learned watching the show, number one, is that people like to talk, people want to be heard, right? So you have people that come on, and also you talk to people, and it's like you have become everyone's favorite girlfriend. People come on there and they are waiting to tell you about their lives
Everything.
outside of being single. What has been maybe three of the biggest lessons that you have learned since doing this? Because this definitely took you out of just talking to celebrities and talking about
Right.
very curated conversations. You've had people call in that were dealing with death, just amazing, just outside of the box invite conversations and painful revelations. So what have you really learned about yourself through doing this?
Well, I've always been a people person. One of my biggest strengths in radio was engaging with people, right?
Mhm.
So I think I'm unique in a sense of I know how to relate to all people. I've been through all walks of life, right? So I think with that ability, even though now life is great,
Mhm.
all this and that, but I didn't wake up here, right? It took a lot. It was a journey. So along my journey, I've always been able to engage with people. So that was always a gift that I had. But something that you said, and I do want to go back to it. People come on my show, and it's like I have to remind them, like, this is not a FaceTime conversation. Just know that thousands of people, they are so comfortable telling me everything.
Mhm.
Literally, people have come out on my show. I'm like, they have been told their mother that they were gay, and they tell me. I'm like, so it's a gift that people just feel so comfortable at times that they just tell me everything. But what I try to remind them is you're not just telling me, you're telling hundreds of thousands of people. So be ready for that.
Mhm.
Learning for myself, I would say, well, that's a good question. I've learned more about dating. I'm not the person that created my show 4 years ago. And I think that's natural. Like when you talk to single people for 4 years, you're going to learn, right?
Mhm.
So one of the things I've learned, a lot is most women truly believe that they deserve a certain type of guy.
Yeah.
And if you ever try to challenge them in that, they feel like you're saying they're not good enough. You feel like they're saying you're trying to tell them to settle. And it's none of that. I'm like, here's the uncomplicated equation. You only can date who wants to date you. And this goes both ways.
Mhm.
Like this goes, we spend a lot of time on the women, but one thing I will say, when I get what they will call delusional men, I can talk to them and engage. Like I had a guy that said he don't want no, like he ain't arguing with no ugly woman, and the kind of woman he want got to be beautiful and all this and that, and you know, beauty is the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
But I think some people didn't think he was that attractive, and
Mhm.
I said, well, are you getting the woman that you want? And he was like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, well, do you not want anybody? I can have that with
Mhm.
the guy.
Mhm.
It's difficult to have it with women
Mhm.
because I also think the hope can't be taken. I have learned that hope is probably necessary
Yeah.
for some people. And Kendra, what do you mean by that? Yeah, because sometimes the truth, some people cannot deal with the truth.
Yeah.
I've learned this. Some people cannot deal with the concept of they're never going to find this perfect match. And
Mhm.
if they were to give up that hope, I don't even know how they would go on with life. Whether it be delusion or not, that hope for some, not all,
Mhm.
keeps them going. Do I recommend it? I don't recommend it because if you wake up, you can close the deal, right? Like you can find your partner if you're willing to accept your reality.
Mhm.
I hate the comments about black women, black men. not one black woman dates the same. I know plenty of black women who are married to men who pay all their bills. I know black women who split the bills. I know black women who don't have a man. So you can't make one statement. So
Right.
I say what you got to realize is look at the mirror and figure out your dating hand. Like dating is like a game of spades, black people. You've been given a deck of cards. Now it's up to you to play your cards to the best of your ability if you want to win the game. You can't get mad at the person across from you. You don't have their hand. So
Right.
don't waste their time. Look at the cards in front of you and play those cards to the best of your ability.
I like that. And I really believe everyone can win with the deck that they have if they're honest about what they're playing with. But you know,
What how? What does winning mean though?
I think that I think that if you're honest about who you are and what you're working with and do that to the best of your ability, I think that love is out there for you. I think that a lot of times we're delusional. I'm speaking about women because I can say that definitely. You hear the comment that men say women can't handle the truth. And it sounds like what you're saying is that you
Oh
that
no,
may
they
have
can't answer the truth. I want to say this though, and we always say this: you're never searching for love because love you have, love you were born with. If you need
been.
to find love, pull out the mirror because
Mhm,
this is the only love that is guaranteed. The love that you have for yourself. Everybody else's love may have a condition. Everybody else at some point in time may or not be in your life.
mhm,
So love begins like the greatness of God is you were born with love. All
mhm,
you're trying to do now is add on to that love. But if you don't recognize that you are born with love and you
mhm,
show up in that way, it's hard for other loves to add on to you because you're mad, you're bitter, you're upset, you're angry. Nobody has time for that. Like
mhm.
no girlfriend, no male friend, no gay friend, nobody wants to be with a miserable person. So you have to find happiness because happiness attracts happiness.
Absolutely.
Um, I will say when it comes to black women, I get it because a lot of black women are doing well financially, right? So I
Mhm.
get all the rich girls. All the girls that call my show, child, they got money, honey.
Yes.
But what they haven't figured out is how that equates to dating. They figured out how to be successful. That's why they got money. But now they're not closing the deal with their counterpart in a relationship because the same rules don't apply to close that deal,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And the unfortunate thing is for all the women that are doing well financially, there's just not an equal amount of black men that fit the height requirement, the aesthetic requirement, and
Yeah.
the money requirements to go. And then also wants to be in a relationship committed, just you and him, to
Right.
go to every woman, right?
Mhm.
So what happens is, and this is the data that I've learned, when I get a guy on my show and he is attractive, has money, well spoken. I can name three people, well, two people. Rashad from Earn Your Leisure. He
Mhm.
came on my show, and
Okay.
he came on my show 2 years ago. He got over 4,000 DMs. Over 4,000 DMs. Then I recently had a guy, his name is Jay Brown. He got he got 6,000. I'm not making these numbers up.
That
I
is
am not making these numbers up. So it's like, and what do
okay.
you? I mean, are you the best out of 6,000? That's what you guys are. Are you the best out of 4,000 if you want
That's
that guy?
crazy.
And then sometimes I remember I didn't get it until I got it, and I will say
Mhm,
that's why I could relate to a lot of boss women because I'm a boss woman, and I used to be a woman that would see a person's wife, right?
mhm,
And I'm
mhm,
like, how does she? What? Why did he choose her? You know, I'm more fabulous and yada yada yada. But a
mhm.
lot of like what we like, most men kind of like simple. They don't really like the makeup because the makeup gets on their clothes. Your wigs, are you washing it every day? Because he has to sleep with you, and if your wig might stink. That's why everybody doesn't like your wig because you went to the gym and
Yeah.
you don't smell it because you just living your fabulous life. But when you get into bed with your man, he has to, because he's behind you, he has to smell it. He don't like it, right? There's
Mhm.
so many other levels to it that if we could have a girlfriend conversation. So I was getting a lot of men saying, I don't like makeup. I like real hair. And I would hear it over and over again. And then I was like, oh, this is why they choose. And then they want a woman that's going to fit within their life.
Mhm.
So, and if they have money, they're not worrying about your money
Right.
because they've already decided that they're going to pay the bills. Now,
Right.
here's the flip side: women with money, because you have all the things. That's how you're kind of supposed to date. Like you're almost supposed to date in a way. If the guy doesn't want you back, then the guy that appreciates you is the guy that you know you buy stuff for.
Mm-hmm.
And and listen, I'm not telling you what to do because it's your life, right? But when I look at older women like Cher and Chris Jenner, you think those men, you think Corey Gamble woke up and said, I want to have 60-year-old vagina. No, well, he woke up and said, I want a 60-year-old vagina that's going to take me to Spain, Paris, the Virgin Islands.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all people just have to learn back to the deck of cards.
Yeah.
What is your wow factor if you want to close a deal in a relationship?
Yes. All right. Let me ask you this, taking a little bit of a pivot from that. So there's so much going on social media now because what happened during the pandemic is everyone started talking, and there are a lot of people that have been hurt. A lot of hurt people, right? A lot of hurt. The world is full of hurt people. So a lot of people are on social media talking through their hurt, and there's almost like what they call gender wars, specifically in the Black community. What is your take on just all the negative conversation that is had on social media, from skits, where Black women are saying, there's no good Black men, and then Black men saying the Black women are overweight, or they're this, they're that. The men are saying the women are saying the men are broke and short. Like, it can be overwhelming, and I think sometimes people can get caught up in that conversation and get too focused on that. What would you say to someone that is wanting to date, but they kind of get caught up in all the negative conversation that they see on social media? Some of the people that call on your show have that attitude. Like, they come in and they have this defense already up, ready to go. What is your advice to people that may be discouraged by that?
Well, this is my advice in all things. Take advice from the people whose life you want to be like, right? So first things first, if you really want to be in a relationship, social media is what it is. And I will go to that. But you said, find people who are in relationships, find married people, because what happens is, see, social media is the fantasy land of relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know so many marriages who, if you saw their picture on social media, you would think it's a perfect marriage. But because I know the backstory, I know what they went through to get to this perfect, our family so perfect picture. Now, I'm not even saying they should reveal their hard shit
Right.
on social media, but social media of the couples, it's always the great times, right? So if you are a person who really wants to be in a relationship, find real life people who are in relationships and talk to them, because they will give you the truth. And the truth is, people who are married, people who are in relationships, they know what single people refuse to accept, which is nobody is perfect. We are both two imperfect people who have decided to be imperfect together. We have more good times than bad times. He gets on my nerves, she gets on my nerves, but I'm willing to compromise for this person, and I'm compromising in a certain way. I also learned the art of forgiveness. A relationship that is going is just a relationship that was able to forgive and continue on. That person wasn't perfect. They just learned how to work through it and forgave. So I always tell people on my show, like, get you some married mentors, get you some relationship mentors in real life, because then you can get the real deal. Social media is not going to give you the real deal. Like, you see in this girl, you thinking she's paying for everything. Maybe, no, he's paying for everything. She might be paying for everything. I remember when Amari Hardrick came out, and he, power goes to success. He's fine. And then people saw his wife and they wanted to judge him, like, that's who you chose. He not with a Black woman. Da, 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 da. And Amari, he was like, when I had nothing, she was there. When I was doing poetry, she was there. Y'all want me now because look at me now. Like, look at me now. I'm fine. I'm on power. I'm good looking. Now you want me, but you're not willing to help me to become this person.
Yeah.
And I can't get mad at that. But I can't. He was just one example. But there are Black women that do that. There are Black women that have held men down, and then when he got up, now he wants to give her the world because, you know what, you proved to me that you were there when I had nothing. The challenge when women say, oh, we have to make a certain amount of money, you're essentially saying if the money goes, you go.
Yeah.
And men hear that. So the war begins with this. Although everyone thinks everybody's rich, everyone's not rich. So when women say that, oh, you have to make 100K, the men who make less than, because they're automatically cut out because
Mm-hmm.
you indirectly have insulted me. You didn't say my name, but I
Right.
don't make that. So you have decided I'm not good enough for you because
Mm-hmm.
my bank account is not good enough for you. So now this man, because he's hurt, what's his job? To hurt you.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's not going to want you because you got 3 kids and you overweight. So what it is you said it best, is hurt people just trying to out hurt each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you that that would end, but it's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
not going to end, because also what social media did is it gives everybody a snapshot of somebody else's life. So
Right.
now you can't even be happy within your own life. Like the self gratification is her like, oh, I see what her man did for her. So what you gonna do for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's now it's all these comparisons. And
Yeah.
then I also think that situationships have messed up the game, because see, in a situationship, that's a wonderful, a lot of times either he got money, I'm gonna talk about from a female perspective,
Mm-hmm.
either he got money, good sex, very attractive. It got to be one of those three, because you're
Yeah.
breaking your rules for him, right?
Right.
But let's just say he has money. Let's start there. He was able, if he got money, him flying you to Puerto Rico for the weekend really isn't the
He's
biggest deal,
not.
because he
Right.
got money, he wanted companionship, he chose you to have companionship with, and life goes on. But because you had that experience, that is now your bar, right?
Yes.
He wasn't even your man. He was just a good weekend. But because
Mm-hmm.
you got flued out and
Yep.
he paid all the expenses, now your husband, any guy that dates you financially, has to do the same. And men are like, you sound crazy.
You
Like,
sound good.
why would I do that? So it's sad. I wish I could say there was a way to end it. I mean, really, the way to end it is, like I said, in real life, you got to find things in real life to
Find
end it.
things in real life. Well, you all, we are, if you're listening, this is a cover conversation with the one and only Kendra G, and she is dropping a lot of gems. She is dropping gems by the minute, but definitely the idea that find something in real life, and comparison is the thief of joy. And so if you are looking online and comparing yourself or wanting your man to do what Kendra's man did, because we see Kendra's man is
Child.
spoiling her online.
I don't even
Um,
post them no more like that, because I didn't realize that I was just happy and
yeah.
I was just joyful, but I didn't realize the message that it sent, because
Mhm.
like is he's not average in any way. So
Yeah.
we'll leave it at that. And I just didn't realize that, oh, me showing a part of my life in this way is now, well, like, oh, well, you got it. Because what I hear a lot of is, well, you got it. And there's no way for me to defend myself without being cocky. Because
Mhm.
what I want to say is, well, we ain't the same. And I want to break down how we ain't the
Yeah.
same, but then I have to be humble and I just kind of let it go. But I also have learned, like, I didn't realize that. I was just,
Yeah.
oh, this is, and I was like, oh, I gotta stop, because one time, and I will share, we're not gonna talk a lot about him, but he sent me something. I was doing my Facebook live show,
Mhm.
and for around New Year's Eve, he sent me a dress
I remember.
from Alexander McQueen,
I remember. I was
and
watching that.
it came during my show.
Mhm.
First of all, people thought he timed it. No, he didn't time it. Alexander McQueen, their delivery guy came when the delivery guy came. So it came during my show. And then obviously I was excited and I was happy.
Mhm.
And so it was live. And I don't regret any of those things. But what I hated, what came with it after, is when I would try to tell a woman about options that she might have, they would say, well, you got it. Well,
Mhm.
you got it. You're experiencing it. So what are you trying to say? And then it's just like, okay, you know what? I'm not gonna be stressed out over your life, right? But yeah.
Kendra said her man is not average and she is not average. So I'm
Oh
just
God, let me stop talking. He's gonna kill me. Let me not talk about him no more.
no, no, no. So let's move. But first of all, it's nothing. It's we're happy for you, and I think all that you put out, because I do want to say, watching the show, you do give people great advice. You also are very generous. I've seen you send people cash apps to men and women that were struggling just out of the blue, and encourage other people. So there's a lot of light that you're putting out, and it's only right that you've gotten a lot of light back. So I want to say that, and we can pivot from her man, her man, her man. So let's talk about this app, because social media, online dating has a bad reputation. There are a lot of
It
people,
does. It does.
a lot of women specifically, that feel like they don't want to get online. They don't like the options of online dating. And then I know a lot of men that kind of look at online dating as a hookup, right? So what is it about Kendra G's new app for Singles Live that is going to be different than some of the other dating apps that are out there?
Well, eventually the show is going to be on the app. So that's the biggest difference, right? Like you'll have an opportunity not only to get to see the picture, but you'll get to know them beyond the photo because you will get to see them on the show. So
Mm-hmm.
that part, like I mentioned, I'm not sure I mentioned this earlier, as a entrepreneur in the
Mm-hmm.
tech world, so many things. And I just gave birth to this premature baby on my birthday. And just like with all apps, like even Instagram is not the app it is today when it launched, was it 12 years ago? Facebook, like so many add-ons. I remember when Instagram, you only had one picture. There was
Mm-hmm.
no video, there was no IG story,
No
there
slide,
was so
no
many things.
swipe. Yeah.
Right. So being in the tech world, I'm like, oh, this is what I want right now. So I'm learning all those things. So eventually, before the year is over, the live feature will be on the app. And the
Okay.
live feature is what I host now on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And that's the wild card. That's truly the game difference of all the other apps, because now you'll get to you'll get to see the person. And
Mm-hmm.
what happens is, and a lot of times either you like them more or you like them less, because sometimes the really good options are what people call boring. Like the people who y'all should be focusing on the most are the people who most are bored by. But those are the good people. Those
Yeah.
are the people that you should be dating. Now the
Mm-hmm.
other stuff, I get it, it's entertainment and I understand it. But no, just watch it for entertainment at times if you must. But pay attention to the people that you might bore to death, because that's a healthy relationship that you're just not ready for, to be honest. So
Absolutely.
that would be the difference.
Absolutely. Let's talk about something else because you mentioned, I mean, a big part of this is entrepreneurship and drive. And there are a lot of people that got on social media, got on YouTube, got on Facebook during the pandemic. And I mean, outside of Club Quarantine and Versus, which are two totally different things, and what you do, few people have managed to be able to keep the audience and maintain the numbers and keep thriving. So let's talk about the consistency and what it took to be able to grow the page and grow the following to this extent. A lot of people were like, okay, I want to do this, but every day Kendra was on. I don't even think you took a vacation until much, much, much later, like years later. It's like you were there all day, every day. What can you tell people that may be looking at your example and thinking, I want to do that, or I want to grow my business? Tell us about what it took and what it took to bring the consistency to get you from 2020 to 2024.
Okay. I want to say this. First of all, thank you for mentioning me with Versus and Club Quarantine, because I felt like Singles Live just wasn't getting her flowers. And I was like, but our time is here. Our time is now.
Mhm.
And we're starting to get our flowers. But I was like, as I was watching, and I, like, I live in LA now, so I run into D Nice. I see him all the
Mhm.
time. And I'm just like, I started in the pandemic too. It was all about you. And I was happy for you. But I was like, we're here, baby.
You did.
I I think with everything, you gotta find your passion first. Because I already had a passion for, like I said, I come from journalism. I was
Mhm.
doing radio and television and connecting people for over 20 years. So I already had that. And I know it doesn't seem like it, but there is an art of hosting. And
Mhm.
it's an art to be able to talk to any human being. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know who I'm talking to, from the age demographic to the social economic demographic to the sexual orientation
Mhm.
demographic. I know I make it seem like it's seamless, and I
Mhm.
believe it's the gift that God gave me with. But not everybody can do that. Not everybody can sit and have a conversation. Shout outs to Wendy Williams, who was one of my radio mentors. She had that gift of
Mhm.
being able to talk to any type of human being. So it's that, but you have to, it has to be a passion, because before money's involved, all you have is your passion and your
Mhm.
belief, right? And if you're not passionate about it, you're not gonna continue. I remember I used to want to be a rapper, but I never wanted to rehearse. So it was like, this isn't gonna work. And then Nicki Minaj came out and she was like great and serious. And I was like, never mind, I don't want to be a rapper no more. Like, I don't want to be a rapper no more. Nicki Minaj is too good. I don't want to compete against her. But so this connecting with people has always been my passion.
Okay.
And then I believed in myself. I became an entrepreneur not really by choice. I was tired of people not giving me a shot. I always knew I was good. Like even when I didn't get jobs, it wasn't because I wasn't good. That was one thing that a no could never break me, because I know I'm good. I know I could do this. And I know I'm actually better than the person that probably got the job. So what's the missing factor? Oh, you're not famous enough. This is a business, right? It's a numbers game. And people who have these platforms, they need to see a turn of their investment, right? So sometimes you have to invest in yourself because somebody else may not do it. So you have to invest in yourself, believe in yourself, and hold yourself to accountability. Everything is my fault. I have to accept that. Even when, things will go on, it's my fault because my name is attached to it. So I get the praises and I also get the negativity if something doesn't work well too. And you just have to receive that. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, it's not for the weak. Right. It's not for the weak. It's more work than a 9 to 5. You never stop working. So know that you don't get an easier job, and you have to put in the work. Nothing is overnight success. This is a 20+ year making, and I pivot. I'm happy I pivot to relationships though, because I'll be doing that. That's a job for the rest of the life, because people are gonna be single forever because y'all crazy.
I will say this, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I feel like watching your show, and even watching before, rest in peace, Kevin Samuels. There was so much that Kevin Samuels would say that I would be incensed by, right, because of the tone and the way he would say it. But when I started interviewing people, I interviewed a lot of reality stars, and then listening to people's comments, and then watching your show, I realized that some of the things he was saying were not crazy. I didn't like the delivery, but the belief behind them was not necessarily off. Is there anything that you thought that you now think differently about when it comes to dating and just single people that you have changed your mind on? Because I know for me, I did not, when I first heard him, and I remember seeing you on his show.
Yes.
And I was just disgusted by some of the things that he was saying. Some of the things are disgusting, but a lot of times, poison is made from 90% corn and then 10% poison. So the 90% corn is still good. Like, there's a lot of truth in what he was saying. Is there anything that you were surprised to find out besides the fact that single people can be crazy? People can be crazy because some people in relationships are crazy too.
Yes.
But is there anything that you were really shocked to learn, through this journey?
Oh, absolutely. And for the record, I didn't necessarily agree. I mean, people always say, my experience when I went on the show changed. I didn't like my interaction with him. I didn't think he was giving me a chance to make certain points. But, excuse me. Overall, what people don't know is Kevin and I had been DMing each other because I was trying to get him to come on my show, and he just became so big, and I still have these DMs to this day, that I ended up going on his show. There was always things that he said that I agreed to, and there's things I strongly disagreed with. I disagree with, if you're in your 40s, you can't meet somebody. Is it more challenging? Absolutely, but it happens, right? And when I was talking to him at the time, I had 2 friends that were married and having babies, and they were in their 40s. So I had to honor my truth and disagreeing with him, because I was like, well, both of my friends, they're literally having babies and they're in their 40s. So I just can't say that. So we didn't agree on everything. I didn't necessarily like my experience, but overall, I would never deny the impact he has in this conversation. I would never deny the fact that, may he rest in peace, that he was very impactful. And I think important too. Like, you can't have this conversation without saying his name. And I'm not a hater. Like, you got to give it there. For me, what I learned in my own experience is a lot of people don't understand the things that they have done, is going to affect them overall for the next relationship. Right. And I think that's the biggest delusion. And we spend, again, a lot of time on women, but men go through this too. But we'll use a woman example for example. First of all, beauty trumps everything. So let's start there. That's why I said your card is different. If you are beautiful, fine, you probably gonna get whatever you want because you're so beautiful and you're so fine. So it just is what it is. Men like beautiful women. But sometimes women don't understand if they do have children by multiple men, and now they want this guy to come in and accept them, accept their children, and do all the things that the child's father didn't do. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And we
Mhm.
use Sierra. And I'm always like, Sierra, first of all, Sierra had one child. And
Mhm.
also, Sierra is one of the top black women on the planet. Like,
Right.
Sierra's not average. I don't know if people don't know this. Like, Russell Wilson's not average, but Sierra's not average either. She also, like, I believe I don't know if she still does this, but she used to get up every day and run 5 miles.
Yeah.
Bitches, are you gonna get up and run 5 miles every day? Okay, are you doing that? And then, come on, and she had one child and gave her husband three more. Like, if you're gonna compare, it wasn't like Russell married her with 5 kids or 3 kids. He had one child, and that can happen too. And she's gorgeous, and she
Drop dead
brings
gorgeous. Yeah.
drop dead gorgeous. She has her own life. She brings a lot. I know men don't always respect it because men respect money in sports, but I didn't know Russell Wilson until Sierra. Okay, I wasn't following him until Sierra, and
Mhm.
he loves the ground that she walks on because he desired a family,
Mhm.
and and she gave him that. So it's like, if you're gonna compare, and I think this is all things, compare all things. Are
Yeah.
you as fine as Sierra? Do you also have your own millions like Sierra? Are
Mhm.
you worldwide like
Famous,
Sierra?
famous like Sierra.
Yeah, like, are you bringing him like to parties that he probably could have got to but didn't know? Like, it's it's
Yeah.
it's and again, I'm not saying this to not say it can't happen, but just, I think a lot of times they do comparisons without comparing everything.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I see people saying they want to do Sierra's prayer, and I'm like, you're gonna need a little bit more than just a prayer. And prayer can change everything, but it just, certain, just, yeah. Last question, Kendra. We appreciate your time. This again, we mentioned June is the month of love, and this
Yes.
cover is closing out the month of June as we go into the rest of the summer. And we know that people are getting married. We know that you are in a beautiful relationship. What is the best thing? Because I think, like you mentioned earlier, there's a certain level of hope that people have, and I think that I believe that love is the most powerful thing there is. What, in your opinion, is the best thing about love that makes it continuously, and it will make it always be something that people should aspire to, even if it's just for themselves?
I think, okay, well, I was gonna, for themselves is something different. What I was about to answer is about a person and a
Mhm.
partner. And I think the basis of love is, who's your partner? Who's your partner in life? Like, that's the person. And I think right now we got, especially a lot of older women, I feel like they really want, because when you get older, when you're 50, your VIP section is your home. So
Mhm.
who do you want to be in your VIP section of your home? And I know I'm not telling anybody to be with a broke man because they get so mad when I say things like this. But who's going to show up to you when you're in a hospital? Like, who shows up for you when times are sad? Like, you can't put a dollar amount on that. And I think that is more important. Like, think about the long game. The
Mhm.
short game is he got to be fine, looks fade. He got to have money. I'm not saying to be broke, but shoot, there was people that was rich, and then the pandemic happened, and
Mhm.
then their type of income completely shifted. And
Right.
they might have been making money, but now the world changed, and what they once did no longer is as lucrative. So
Mhm.
now, I want people to understand that this is like a give and take. Like, you got to sign up for a person that you're willing to go through the ups for and the downs for, and who's going to be there when it's all said and done. And also know this: everybody doesn't get somebody. So just know that. Like, if you think that, I know it's like, I know we almost got to go, but I do want to dispel this saying because I think it's a crutch. There's someone for everybody.
Mhm.
Yes, there's someone for everybody because God is good, right? But that someone might be your brother, your mother, your coworker, your best friend. God has not promised everybody a romantic somebody.
Yeah.
Everybody on this planet does not get a romantic somebody. So if you want a romantic somebody, you got to get serious with it. I
Yeah.
would say first start with yourself,
Mhm.
decide what you want. Some people, there's women who don't mind polygamy. I thought it was all men. I've had women that say, I don't want to be committed. I want an open relationship. So first discover what you desire. Then find your tribe of people and
Mhm.
figure life out.
There you go. Let people know where they can sign up for Single Live.
Okay, so the biggest thing is the Kendra G Singles dating app. So go to your iPhone, go to your Android phone, download it right now. It's so simple. It's my name, baby. Kendra G Singles. And it's so funny. Real quick backstory. I was gonna call it Singles Live. It was called Singles Live. But
Okay.
on Apple, even though it wasn't taken, the name was already at the bottom for dating apps. So I was like, okay, God, I guess okay, you said use your name.
Mhm.
So you type in my name and it comes up right away. So that's the most important thing. And you can follow me on social media everywhere. Kendra G Media.
We love it. Thank you so much, Kendra. And we are giving you your flowers.
Thank
You
you.
definitely are continuing to make an impact, and we cannot wait to continue to support that. But you did your thing. You definitely are in that conversation of people that were able to turn the pandemic from something that was painful to something that was purposeful, and we salute you for that.
And you are amazing at this. I want to just say this. Like you did I'm usually you. So it's hard to be the person that has to ask the questions, but you are very talented at this. You made me feel very good. And I love I receive it and I appreciate it. And all the flowers to you. She's a whole wife. So talk to her and listen to her. I need to have you come on my show. Maybe it's what we'll do, if you don't mind,
No,
coming on my show when the issue comes out, and you could give some advice to all the single girls.
I will say this because I wanted to tell you this off camera, but I'll say this on camera. I remember watching your show. I didn't watch Kevin Samuels because it was discouraging, and I learned to guard my ears. So anything that wasn't in line and aligned with what I wanted, I would turn off. But I found the most amazing. I am beyond in love with my husband. I was divorced with two kids, and a successful entertainment publicist. Very, very. It just seemed like the odds were against me. And at one point, I had given up. In my early 40s, my kids were getting ready to leave, and the most amazing man showed up. But I had to do a lot of work on Christal, and I had to change what I thought. So I stopped some of the things that I would give hard no's to. I focused on what was important, but I also did not listen to anything that was not positive. So when I would hear, oh, well, if you're over 40 and you have kids, no, I would not listen to that. And when I tell you, I never thought I could be as in love as I am now. I am blown away, and I'm just thankful to God that I didn't give up and that I continued being positive. But I sowed so much love into other people by writing about only positive Black love stories. And so when I saw you doing that, I knew that your love was coming because you were doing too much to help other people. You were just sowing into people, right? And so the universe has no choice but to give you back what you're sowing in. And so I see that for you, and I'm excited for you.
Can
Um,
I add to that?
mhm.
That is exactly what happened. Like, again, I will share this much. With my relationship, I wasn't looking for him. He wasn't looking for me. And this is why I said you got to be happy.
Mhm.
And we met so fast when I got to LA. He knew of me from my show, but we just clicked. And I heard so much about, again, I tell my age all the time because I think a birthday is God's greatest joy. So
Mhm.
I'm 45, and you hear it all the time. Oh, nobody, and I'm around it. I lived in the world of it. And like I said, my man's not average. And I say he's not average because he's unlike any other guy I've ever dated.
Mhm.
And they all had money,
Mhm.
but he has a character that is unmatched, right? And
Yeah.
early on in our relationship, because I was like, oh, this is gonna sound so bougie, but it's the truth. Another Rolls Royce, like, oh God, like another one. Like these men never want to be in a relationship. They
Yeah.
never want. And like, so our first day, I was just like, this is who I am. This is what I want. If you need 5 girls, I respect it, but I
Mhm.
can't be that.
Mhm.
And then we were just like, wow, like I could be with you. I could be with you. Like you
Mhm.
make sense for me. And I'm only sharing that because I was at peace. Like I literally was at peace. I was happy.
Mhm.
I knew I would date forever. Like I never
Mhm.
have a man problem.
Right.
So to me, going back to again a partner in life, someone that I'm like, okay, I could be with you. I could close out. Like
Mhm.
game over. I'm
Right.
choosing this and being good. I wasn't expecting that, to be quite
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm.
So when it did come, I do believe that is what you said because God was like, you're pouring, you're pouring, you're pouring. I
Mhm.
got to return what you gave.
Yeah, absolutely. I know it's just the law. The Bible speaks about it, sowing and reaping. And when you're doing it without you were doing it without expecting that return. And
Right.
that's why it happened. Your intentions were pure. And so it is paying off in dividends. And I believe it's going to continue. And we are excited to be able to celebrate you. So we are honored and excited and looking forward to celebrating this cover on your success and your new app for Kendra G.
Yes, I am so excited. Thank you so much. I believe this is my first cover. I believe it is. I've been on the cover, but I don't think I've ever been the cover.
Well, she is.
So I think this is the first full cover. This
Yes.
is the full cover, right?
This is a full cover, full spread.
Let's
Yes.
do it. Yes. Child. I'm excited. Thank y'all so much. This is wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kendra. All right, you guys are going to be able to see this amazing cover. Make sure you visit this, visit rollingout.com for this conversation and so much more from Kendra G. This has been your host, Christal Jordan, and I will see you guys next time right here on Rolling Out. Bye-bye.